am Tito Prates from Brazil, a fan, collector and researcher of Agatha Christie's life. Brazil, a country with 220 million people, has proudly been, since 2015, the third greatest Agatha Christie's fan club worldwide, on the internet, and the first in a non-English language. For a country where books are expensive and the population doesn't have the habit of reading, these are amazing records. I have the pleasure to introduce you to the responsible for the beginning of all these incredible numbers.
Hi, my name is Monica. I live in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. My passion for Agatha Christie started in the age of 8. I read all her books. And the first book I read was Then There Were None. And I never again stopped reading. This love for your books led me to be responsible for the ACB community on the Orkut in 2004. With the end of Orkut, I created a group on Instagram to keep this passion alive. I love Agatha Christie.
The very first appearance of Agatha Christie's works in Brazil, according to my research, is in a tale from the original The Big Four, in the magazine O Malho, from August 1928, The Lady on the Stairs, A Mulher na Escada, divided in 2 parts. Only in 1930, 2 books of hers were translated and published by Livraria do Globo da Rua da Praia: The Blue Train, O Trem Azul, and The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, O Assassinato de Roger Ackroyd. Observe that until 1960, the cover of detective books here were associated with horror books. Cards on the Table, The ABC Crimes, Death on the Nile, Then There Were None, Murder on the Orient Express. By then, only 14 titles had been published here. From the middle 60s, more publishers began to have interest in Agatha Christie's books. The years of 1970 was the great golden age of Agatha Christie's books on Brazil, with the last 4 numbers being published in 1980. Nowadays, Brazil has 3 publishers of her books, and the last great impulse was given by this woman.
Back in 2013, I was working at the booth of the publishing house in the biggest book fair here in the country. And suddenly this young boy came to me asking for books with mystery. So I answered, so you're a big fan of Agatha Christie, right? And he looked at me very surprised, and then I realized he had no idea who Agatha Christie was. So we had a challenge to reintroduce Agatha Christie here in Brazil to this new generation, young people that would start reading her books, but also please her fans. So we started to design a new image of her, and the results are these boxes here that were like hand drawn, and each book contains the mystery inside the story. In the next book fair, these boxes were the best sellers of the booth, a big success in the publishing house.
HarperCollins has the rights over the hardcover books. HarperCollins Brazil arrived in Brazil in 2016 as a new part of the former Nova Fronteira. They are producing these new covers and new translations. Altogether, the books do this amazing rainbow effect. Poirot could dislike this collection because there is no order of publication. Globo Livros, before called Livraria do Globo da Rua da Praia, has, since 930, the rights of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, Five Little Pigs, and Then There Were None. Few years ago, Globo Livros has the rights from Editora Record, that has the rights over José Olímpio Editora and Ed Amaris. They are doing a great work with Tom and Chupin's books. And the LPM Pockets, as the name says, has the rights over Agatha Christie pocket books. The new productions of films and TV shows have been arriving here fast, alluring hoarders of new fans to the Justice of Death, as well as Sophie Hannah's books and Janet Morgan and Catherine Harcourt. The Agatha Christie's comics have been published here very slowly, mainly the most popular titles. Another interesting point is that Jane Burton introduced Agatha Christie at the university in UK in 2015. And here in Brazil, we have having special classes about her in the public university since 2016.
Hi everyone, I'm Professor Patrícia César da Cruz. I work with a Universidade Federal do Pará in Brazil, and we've been developing studies about Agatha Christie together with the Tito Prates research, and we've been doing mini courses about her through the internet and doing researches about her work here in Brazil and also in England. We've been together for a long time working and trying to find more interesting things about this author, and Agatha Christie is the most important author in relation to the detective stories and novels. So we're together working on this, and we are trying to approach Agatha Christie and readers through the interactive mini courses.
Hello, my name is Jean-Pierre Chauvin. I'm professor and researcher at the Department of Journalism and Publishing at the School of Communications and Arts of University of São Paulo. Since 2016, I have been offering a discipline in which we analyze some of her novels with Tito Prates' partnership, the Brazilian Christie's biographer. Like many others, I started to read Agatha Christie stories when I was a teenager. The first experience was The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. The plot left a deep impression, and it became my favorite novel, alongside Anne Werner known Crooked House, Dumb Witness, Appointment with Death, and many others. Every time I try to tell or write something about her novels, I emphasize her competence to compose characters and the warp of the plots. Studying her stories allow us to extrapolate the fact that they are bestsellers and focus on the narrative aspects related to a high-quality literature. I think that any serious analysis about Agatha Christie's works needs to consider the personality, the word will, the speech, and the actions of those men and women she created. Also, we may regard some curious relations between her characters and the ambience where they live, play, and work.
Another administrator of the Brazilian fan club wrote an essay about Agatha Christie in UK in 1990.
Hi, I'm Crystal. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and I'm also the one responsible for the site Agatha Christie obra e autora.blogspot.com. Actually, I call my site a blogazine because it's a blog, but it's also a magazine in which I write essays and articles about everything concerning Agatha Christie's fascinating world. Yes, it's just a fascinating world that Agatha has created through her books and the stories and the characters and everything. But, believe it or not, my favorite book from Agatha is the autobiography. Reason why? Well, it's because you see this fantastic woman she was. Agatha as a mother, as a child, as a grandmother, as a wife, and as a woman, right? Just writing her books and having interesting experiences throughout the world. So I hope you enjoy my blogazine, and I'm sure you love Agatha Christie's world, Agatha Christie's fascinating, wonderful universe. Thank you. Bye.
We have had so far only 2 complete collections of Agatha Christie's books in Brazil. One in 1998, another in 2000, both by Editora Record. This was possible at that time because the Brazilian publishers made a joint venture about the rights. Nowadays, the fans long for another one. As to the Brazilian people, I can say that at least half of all Agathas have been named after the Queen of Crime. I am sure that all Agathas Christines and Agathas Christinas was without any doubt.
I am Agatha.
She was trying to say, I am Agatha. You know. Agatha Christie's Brazilian fan club have been responsible for marriages among their members. This great passion could be under and on our skin. I have 2 books published here about Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie, uma biografia de verdades, Agatha Christie, a biography of truth, and Pequeno Guia Brasileiro da Obra de Agatha Christie, Little Brazilian Guide about Agatha Christie's works. In Portugal, I have this travel guide published, Viagem à Terra da Rainha do Crime, Journey Across the Land of the Queen of Crime. I am the president of the Brazilian Crime and Horror Writers Association, ABERST, and the publisher and owner of the trademark Revista Mistério Retrô, dedicated only for Brazilian writers' publications, and every issue brings a special article about Agatha Christie's world. In December 2022, The magazine published by the first time a non-Brazilian author, Agatha Christie. It was a homage to Agatha Christie by kind permission of Agatha Christie Limited. This chest behind of me is full of American, British and Australian magazines with the original histories from Agatha Christie before the publication in books. It's impossible to me to show all the collection, but I invite who wants to know more about it to contact me. I am a collector. Did I hear anyone say maniac? To my work, I collected some old magazines from England and USA with tales from Agatha Christie. This is very important for my research. And there are things from Australia also. I must say that it's a particular pleasure to read these amazing original stories published in USA, sometimes before the publishing of the books in England or in USA, and the amazing drawings. This magazine has the very first appearance of the Agatha Christie stories. Unfortunately, I have few issues from the Strand magazine. It's expensive and hard to find. I have a great number of magazines and it is impossible to show to you all them now. To preserve these old papers is another challenge because they are very old and frail. But I try to keep them. I had luck to find a store in Rochester that has a great number of John Bull's magazines, so I have today more than 30 issues of the magazine, with some complete stories of Agatha Christie. These are the 10 parts of the original Murder for Christmas, published in Collins 1938 and 1939. This is Collier's from 1946 with the complete story The Hollow. And this is the complete story from Dead Man's Folly, published in 1956. On January 1969, Saturday Evening Post published Endless Night in 2 parts. This is the complete collection of issues from the Saturday Evening Post from 1937 with the complete Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. And this is the 7 numbers of And Then There Were None, Saturday Evening Post USA 1939, May 1939, with the original title in America, And Then There Were None. I used to show this collection and this magazine to say that the original title from USA before the publication of the book in UK is And Then There Were None. No changes. I hope that you have enjoyed this journey across Agatha Christie in Brazil. And I invite you to learn more about our fans, works and people on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. I am Tito Prates. Thank you for your kind attention and see you soon.